This is the first lesson of calendar component training, and in this lesson we're going to simply build a calendar component. So let's get started. I've created a new project called Calendar Component Training, and we're going to start off by using a calendar component, and this is called Lesson 1, Sales and Credits by Day, building the calendar. And this is going to be on the menu, and we have a calendar icon. Nothing to do here. Now to build the SQL, I've come over here into SQL Server Management Studio, where I've pre-built the SQL statement. Like graphs, KPIs, where you have to summarize data, we get into more complex aggregates. So in this case, I need to get the invoice date, an order type, whether it's a credit or a sale, and then sum an amount. Now the first thing is I need to case out the O or a C, because I'm only looking at O's and C's, and I'm only looking at order history. And if it's an O, I want to call it sales. Also want to call it credits, and that's going to be called ord type as an alias. Also, the original ord type, if it's an O, then I need to make the dollars positive. Otherwise, if it's a credit, which would just be else, I want it to be negative, because otherwise they'd both be positive. So I select from that statement, and then that allows me to group by the ord type is an alias and order by the alias. So let me just take that whole select statement, come back over here, and let's look at it. If I come down here on the 23rd, we'll see then that I'm going to be plotting, and we'll see this day in a calendar. On the 23rd we have credits and we have sales. So this grouping in aggregates allows us to get what we need. We're going to have two columns or two rows in the calendar. We can have multiple rows. We could have 3 or 4 rows, but we have to get them grouped by day so that we can see them by day. You'll see how that works. So now we need to come down and get the invoice date, and that's going to be our data type that we're going to define, and it's already a date time. We need to give that a date range, or we could elect to do that, and that's what we're doing here. So next we would define a linked list, which we'll come back and do later. Now we're going to define the calendar, and I'm just going to say, okay, I want to look at this by invoice date. That's the date field, which is automatically selected, and I double click ord type, which puts that value down in here, and I'm actually just building a statement, and then invoiced. And ord type doesn't have a format, so I can select different types of formats for my values. We'll just stick with that format. So let's go ahead and preview this. And it's just a calendar. Invoice date. I'm going to take all date ranges. And now we can scroll back. We see I have some data here in December. We'll go back to that August date where we had credits and sales. And that's the end of Lesson 1. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video tutorial, and I encourage you to move on to the next video tutorial in this series.